Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Elizabeth Bowden, your host for AZ Illustrated Arts. Tonight, we'll look at the work of a photographer who crosses borders to tell stories from both sides. Explore a project that documents the real-life stories of America's female veterans involving a new generation along the way. Meet a local author with some unique stories to tell. Hear a real-life story about being honest with your family, even when it hurts. And listen to the blues, as sung by Hank Topless. But first, today's top stories.
Governor Jan Brewer declared a state of emergency today in Yavapai County due to a growing wildfire. The Dose fire, which is burning about 8 miles from Prescott, has scorched more than 6,000 acres at this point. The emergency declaration makes $100,000 available for fighting the fire. Nearly 500 homes in the area have been evacuated. 2 other fires are burning in Arizona. One near Babakivari Peak in southern Arizona has burned a little more than 100 acres, and a fire near the south rim of the Grand Canyon has burned about 200 acres since yesterday. The immigration bill working its way through the Senate received a boost of support today. An amendment to double the number of Border Patrol agents and build more than 700 miles of additional fencing was announced on the floor. Senator John McCain, who is shepherding the immigration bill through, says the amendment, combined with technology, is a good thing.
The head of the Border Patrol has assured us that if these technologies are in place and operational, that we can have 100% situational awareness and 90% effective control of the border.
The immigration bill is expected to pass the full Senate in the coming days. And Arizona's unemployment rate dropped again in May, but the state also lost jobs last month. According to the state statistics released today, Arizona's unemployment rate in May was 7.8%, a drop of 0.1% since April. Arizona is maintaining a slightly higher unemployment rate than the national figures for the last month. State officials say the unemployment rate is going down because the labor force in Arizona is shrinking. And that's a look at tonight's headlines.
A World Separated by Borders is a photography exhibition at the Arizona State Museum. The images reveal intimate details of the immigrant experience and of the borderlands. Photographer Alejandra Platt-Torres is from Mexico, but lives on both sides of the border. She says her photographs explore the human drama created by the artificial barrier that crosses the landscape.
A lot's been said about the border that separates Mexico from the United States. And here in the Sonoran Desert, what perhaps could be considered the epicenter of the contentious immigration debate of our time, there's no shortage of individuals with strong emotions about the border.
Since I was 7 years old, I came to Arizona, Nogales, Tucson, Phoenix with my family.
Alejandra Platt-Torres has some very personal emotions about the border. She's also a photographer. She has an exhibition at the Arizona State Museum titled A World Separated by Borders. She says the motivation for these images came from her own experiences, living in a land separated by what she calls an arbitrary barrier.
I always come here in a very friendly way. You know, people from Sonora, we like to come to Arizona to shop, to have vacation and having fun, whatever. This is a migrant from South Mexico.
Platt-Torres says that her binational experiences as an inhabitant of this region led her to focus her camera on the border dynamic, on the stories that unfold throughout this landscape every day, but are sometimes hidden from view.
Right now I'm documenting. That's what I'm doing. I like portraits, but now I need to document more. Not only portraits, people. I need to document everything, you know, landscape, objects, people, I don't know, everything that is in front of me, I want to take a photograph on this project.
The photographs in this exhibition show both sides of this world separated by borders and the experiences of those that are trying to bridge the divide. And although the artist says that she is acting as a documentarian, the images reveal an artistic sensitivity to the subject matter. Platt-Torres says she often focuses the camera away from the faces of the migrants. And in her images, we see only the small details that hint at the trauma of these migrants. As viewers, we are allowed to imagine the stories.
And it's not about the specific person necessarily in the photograph. It would be, these are kind of representative of many, many people and the things that have happened to them.
Margaret Regan is the arts editor for the Tucson Weekly. She's also the guest curator for A World Separated by Borders.
And I'm also the author of a nonfiction book about the border called The Death of Jocelyn, Immigration Stories from the Arizona Borderlands. And I like the morgue photo.
Regan is familiar
also.
with the stories of death and suffering in the desert through her reporting. And she says the images in this exhibition provide a unique perspective of the migrant experience.
Alejandra's focus, as my focus was when I was doing all that reporting, is about the journey itself. And the fact that we put these people through all these hoops, right? We make it very difficult to get across. We have made it dangerous to get across. And yet, if they get through all those hoops, we have welcomed their labor. And they're fine, you know, once they're here, okay, you know, go wash dishes at Panda Express, you know, or yeah, sure, you know, do my gardening for me or put a roof on my house. So I think, you know, Alejandra's contribution is that this very dangerous journey is still taking place.
Regan says the number of bodies found in the Arizona desert has decreased slightly over the past few years, but the numbers are still around 200 deaths per year, a number she likens to the catastrophe that would be experienced if a jetliner crashed in the desert.
We have a cataclysm like that taking place every year, but many of the deaths are anonymous, they're individual, they're scattered in the desert. We don't know who they are, we can't necessarily write their stories, and people aren't paying attention. You know, that's what Alejandra is doing. She is showing us what that journey is like.
This particular journey is depicted as cyclical in A World Separated by Borders. The migrants begin in Mexico. They enter the U.S. in a gamble of life and death and return to Mexico separated from the life they've created in the north. This is a way of life that Platt-Torres knows firsthand.
My great-grandfather was a migrant in Mexico, and he stayed there. So our families, we are maybe 500 people from that family. And I understand that he didn't return to the United States anymore. He stayed in Mexico. So that's what we like Mexico, maybe. We love Mexico, or my family. And that was one of the reasons also that I decided to do this project. A World Separated by Borders, un mundo separado por fronteras.
A World Separated by Borders is on display at the Arizona State Museum. You can log on to azpm.org for more information and links.
The topic of women serving in the military has been in the headlines in recent months. A Tucson project is listening closely to female veterans and service members and recording their stories and reflections about their experiences. Earlier, I spoke with Lisa Bowden, Samantha Bell, and Natalie Navarro of Corey Press to learn more about the Listening Project. I want to thank the three of you for joining me today.
Thanks, Liz.
Lisa, the first question is for you. What is the mission of Corey Press?
Corey Press is a nationally recognized nonprofit dedicated to literary activism through publishing women and educating girls.
And how does the Listening Project connect to that mission?
It connects in two ways. One, the educating girls piece, which is about helping girls develop their own sense of voice, their own sense of literary activism and writing. And the other piece is really about lifting up the voices of women writers or women who have stories to tell, in this case, women in the military.
What do you do to prepare for your interviews? Samantha?
Well, we make sure not to wear noisy clothing. We prepare the tech. We use recorders with cassette tapes. We set up the microphones, and we brief a little with the interviewees before we begin.
So what are the kinds of questions that you're asking the female service members?
Well, we start out with sort of general questions about themselves, like where have you served, when did you join the military, how is your family feeling about your choice to join the military. And then as the interview progresses, we get a little more in depth. We ask them sort of questions on their views about current events in the military, like how they feel about the recent decision to allow women in combat situations. And also about, we really focus on personal experience and how they feel that their military experience has been affected by the fact that they're women.
Lisa, for you, what has been the most challenging part of this project?
I'm really interested in bringing disparate groups together and seeing what happens. So thinking about narrowing the divide between military and civilian, culture between the genders, what happens politically, what happens on a national level. I definitely think the work that we have done, which has had a lot of national attention, is part of the national conversation and the changes that have been happening in the laws around women in combat in the military, and creating, thinking about it as a feminist project in the military, women having full access and full safety and job security and et cetera, everything else that we have in the civilian world, and really also thinking about it from a literary and scholarly perspective. What are they contributing to the humanities scholarship in their storytelling?
So what's going to be done with the recordings and the interviews once the project is complete?
Well, the girls are reducing these hour-long interviews into 8-minute broadcast quality radio stories. So the idea is to get them on NPR, enter them into the Library of Congress, and have them accessible to people on the web. And then the longer, full-length interviews will be the beginning of an audio archive. Online audio archive project. The idea being that people can use the tools that we've used to, how do you talk to somebody from a different culture, from a different generation, and they can upload those stories. So it'll be an internationally accessible online archive of women's stories.
Final question in just the last 30 seconds. Why women in the military? Why not some other career?
Women in the military are sort of this mysterious group of people to a lot of people. A lot of people don't understand military culture, and especially female military culture. So I think it'll be really interesting to sort of raise awareness about those people's experiences.
Well, I want to thank the three of you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
The push for immigration reform in Congress gained steam today as lawmakers announced a compromise on border security.
We hear from two senators behind the drive for a deal, North Dakota Republican John Hoeven and New Mexico Democrat Tom Udall.
Then markets around the globe tumbled today. We examine how concerns with a credit crunch in China and uncertainty over the Federal Reserve have Wall Street worried.
The prevalence of the most common STD and principal cause of cervical cancer has been cut in half. Margaret Warner talks to a top CDC official on the striking success of the HPV vaccine among teen girls.
Money can't buy me love, the Beatles sang, but Paul Salmon asks, can it buy me happiness?
Two storied series, two championships on the line. We discuss the last-second shots and overtime goals that have made this year's NBA Finals and Stanley Cup contest games to be watched and remembered.
And that's all ahead on tonight's NewsHour.
In the new movie The Attack, a man's wife is killed in a suicide bombing, then accused of being the bomber.
How could you be married to someone who is actually modern? She comes from a wealthy bourgeois family and not see it coming.
I'm Renee Montaigne, unraveling the mystery of a suicide bombing on the next morning edition from NPR News.
Frankie Rollins is a fiction writer who lives in Tucson and teaches writing at Pima Community College. Her latest collection of works is called The Sin Eater and Other Stories. Next, Louise Carrion introduces us to the author and her husband, Ben Johnson, who created illustrations for the book.
Also, he used to take my classes, and he would sometimes read like a love poem or something, and I'd be like, you can't You really can't read a love poem about the teacher.
Frankie Rollins is a fiction writer and full-time faculty member at Pima Community College, where she teaches writing. Her new book, titled The Sin Eater and Other Stories, published by Queens Ferry Press, is a collection of short stories she says were compiled over the course of a few years.
So I wrote this about 10 years ago. Actually, it's taken me 10 years to publish it.
The stories are metaphorical and provide the reader with a window into a world of unsettled human interactions.
One of the things that I write about often, my characters are often in their 20s, because I'm so fascinated with the fact that we make major life decisions in our 20s, but we don't really have the knowledge or wisdom to make them well. And we live with the consequences. So I'm really interested, that's also why I like teaching college, I'm really interested in that age. So a lot of these stories are about myself in my 20s, or come from little germs of experiences I had. And they're very metaphorical though. They're like fairy tales almost, and modern fairy tales. But that's what they're based on.
Stories that are based on personal experiences. This makes for a logical starting point in fiction writing, but the stories in The Sin Eater offer an introspective view that frequently startles with multiple layers of emotional insight.
An excerpt from The Sin Eater. You were looking carefully at the classified ads because living alone means sometimes needing to fill the time. The ad is small, tucked in with other...
The title story of the book is taken from the second-person account of a man that's attempting to expunge himself of the guilt he feels for an adulterous relationship.
The apartment is an ambush of sentiment. Closets are stuffed with things you can't stand to see anymore, boxes of pictures and knickknacks you and your wife bought at flea markets. Half the furniture is missing, half the plants. Your dog, Beanie, is gone too. Every day you find his hair on your clothes. All week you have the feeling that there's something to look forward to, but when you try to remember what it is, you realize it's the idea of the sin eater you're anticipating.
The anticipation you feel reading this story leads to an intimate and allegorical exploration of guilt and pain, one that Rollins said came from one of those personal experiences that often leads her to write.
I was working in a bookstore and there was a historian there. She was talking about a sin eater, and that there are sin eaters in Celtic culture and like New Zealand or Australia. And the thing that was so fascinating to me is that sin eaters are then outcast in their society. After they eat the community's sins, nobody wants them around. And there was something so tragic about that to me. But also I was seeing a therapist at the time who had chronic fatigue syndrome. And I really felt like every time I went to see her, I was making her worse. Because, her hair would be matted and she'd look really tired. And I had to resist saying like, are you okay? It's this.
Other stories in this collection include a tale about a young couple with bubonic plague, an account of a woman that grows a tail, and The Ruins. This is a story of love, isolation, and a human relationship caught in a vast desert.
That Ruins one in particular, I lived with somebody who was depressed, and it was like living with someone who had turned to stone. And so just from that idea of being like, oh, this person is so immovable, I can't do anything to help. And then just from that idea of living with a stone came this whole story about the desert.
Rollins says she wrote The Ruins, a story with vivid imagery of a landscape similar to the Southwest desert, before she and her husband even decided to move from Philadelphia to Tucson.
I had never actually been to the Southwest at all. And I was looking at it from Google Earth, and on Google Earth, there's really no color. And I was like, it's okay. I could live in a place that's kind of brownish because it's beautiful. And then when I got here, I was like, wow, oh, this place is all color all the time.
Rollins says she and her husband, Ben Johnson, collaborated in making this book. The publisher agreed to have Johnson, who's a painter and curator at a local museum, provide illustrations for each of the book's stories.
I was thinking about her stories, and just images were coming to mind.
Johnson says the style for these illustrations evolved directly from the inspiration he received from the stories.
Frankie's writing is so visual, is the thing. I feel like with all of her work, I see it as much as I read it. It's the images come to me when I'm reading Frankie's work. So when I was thinking about this suite of short stories that are collected in this book, these images started coming, and the more and more I thought about them, I kept thinking about images that related to home in some way.
These images that relate to home are a logical accompaniment to the accounts of people trying to find their place in this world. For Rollins and Johnson, the debut of this short story collection seems to coincide with their arrival in a community that has embraced their artistic contributions.
And Ben was a full-time artist when we moved here, and felt a little confined by that. And so his life has totally changed, and now I'm full-time faculty at Pima, and I mean, Tucson has really embraced us.
The Sin Eater and Other Stories is the title of the book. It's published by Queens Ferry Press. You can go to our website at azpm.org to read a complete story from the collection.
Odyssey Storytelling was founded in 2004 with the mission of creating community, one story at a time. Each month, people share unscripted, real-life stories with an audience at Odyssey Storytelling events. Here now is Jerry Diaz.
I miss my grandmother. She's been gone a couple of years now, and I still remember all she did for me in my life. My grandma was there at the very beginning. When I was first born, she took care of me till I was about 5 years old while my mother worked. She was there from that point even forward, always there for me in every way, shape, or form to make sure that she knew her first grandchild was going to get everything he wanted and be taken care of correctly. When my grandmother got older, my mother decided to go live near her in Florida, where she had decided to retire. My mother and my grandmother were of the same mind, both strong Latina women with a lot of influences and a lot of ideologies. So they had a lot of agreements, but they had a couple of disagreements from time to time. And probably the most famous one they ever had was in regards to, of all people, Ricky Martin. Ricky Martin at the time was a very popular star, coming out into the limelight, showing off his amazing talents, and my grandmother and mother were both huge fans of his. But my grandmother and mother were at odds over the fact that Ricky Martin was gay. That made a difference in how I treated my own sexuality and how I came out to my mother and my grandmother. Where I didn't come out to my grandmother, I did come out to my mom. My grandmother always argued that Ricky Martin could not have been gay, that she'd seen him with women on pictures and magazines and television shows. And my mother, having the conversations that she had had with me, kept agreeing on the fact that he was. My grandmother would pass away a couple of years ago with that notion still in her head about Ricky Martin not being gay. And I never got a chance to come out to my grandmother, which makes me kind of sad. My mother, of course, was right, because months after my grandmother passed away, Ricky Martin, just so happens, came out of the closet and made public his gayness. I did it before Ricky did, and deep down inside, I know Ricky didn't know my grandmother, but I know he probably had someone in his life, just like her, who he didn't want to come out to. So when we come out to our parents and our grandparents, we always wonder who they are and what they're about and how they're going to react. And it's always important to know where that comes from. I miss my grandmother. She's an amazing woman, and I've learned a lot from her. And I know somewhere she's smiling, even though she found out Ricky Martin was gay.
And now, here is some music from a singer-songwriter who calls Tucson his home. Over his long career, Hank Topless has lived out the story behind many a country and western song. Next, we'll see him performing Happy Time Blues in the AZPM radio studio.
Today it up and rained, oh what a happy time. Clouds covered up the sun, yeah what a happy time. It took me back to good old 1969. Today it up and rained, clouds covered up the sun. All my blues were gone, yeah, what a happy time. I wrote a sad, sad song, and I had a happy time. And I sold it to George Jones. Yeah, what a happy time. I stole the hook from sorrow, overtakes the wine. I wrote a sad, sad song. I sold it to George Jones. And all my blues were gone. Yeah, what a happy time. I spent my day alone and I had a happy time. I called Hank Williams on the phone. Yeah, what a happy time. And he had Waylon Jennings on the other line. I spent my day alone. I called Hank Williams on the phone. And all my blues were gone. Yeah, what a happy time. Your pretty eyes, they shone. Ah, what a happy time. And they got down in my bones. What a happy time. And in some stupid bar room on the borderline, your pretty eyes, they shone. And they got down in my bones. All my blues were gone. Yeah, what a happy time. What a happy time. Don't you know what's a happy time?
That's our show for tonight. To post a comment on any of these stories or to keep up with the latest news, visit our website, azpm.org. I'm Elizabeth Bowden. Thank you for watching.